Hello, listeners. If you've enjoyed these narrations, please click on that like and subscribe button. If God exists, why is there so much evil in the world? It's a common question, but it is misplaced. All things must have balance, light and dark, good and evil, sound and silence. Without one, the other cannot exist. So if that's true, then God does nothing to fight evil. That might be your follow-up question. Of course he fights evil, relentlessly. I am D'Artagnan, one of his most holy and righteous angels. I roam the earth disposing of evil wherever I find it. I kill the monsters you don't even want to know about. I crush them completely so you can sleep at night. You humans have no idea how many of you live because of the work I do. But what about Stalin, Hitler, Ted Bundy, Jack the Ripper? Well, those are the minor ones I had to let live, for balance. The ones I destroy are too horrible and vile to survive. What's funny is while I would wager you've never have heard of the name D'Artagnan in any religious text, I bet you have heard of me. Americans, for example, have their own name for me: sudden infant death syndrome. Thank you for listening to another story from the Sanguinis Compendium. If you enjoyed, give that like and subscribe button a click, and ring that bell to hear more stories daily. There was no pearly gate. The only reason I knew I was in a cave was because I had just passed the entrance. The rock wall rose behind me with no ceiling in sight. I knew this was it. This was what religion talked about, what man feared. I had just entered the gate of hell. I felt the presence of the cave as if it was a living, breathing creature. The stench of rotting flesh overwhelmed me. Then there was the voice. It came from inside and all around.
Welcome.
Who are you? I asked, trying to keep my composure.
You know.
The living thing answered. I did know. You're the devil, I stuttered, quickly losing my composure. Why me? I've lived a good life, as good as I could. The silence took over the space as my words died out. It seemed like an hour went by before a response came.
Why did you expect?
The voice was penetrating, but patient. I don't know. I never believed any of this, I uttered. Is that why I'm here? Silence. I continued. They say the greatest trick you ever pulled was convincing the world you don't exist.
No. The greatest trick I ever pulled was convincing the world that there is an alternative.
There's no God? I shivered. The cave trembled with the words.
I am God.
Thank you for listening to another story from the Sanguinis Compendium. If you enjoyed, give that like and subscribe button a click, and ring that bell to hear more stories daily. I was always alone. My parents kicked me out as soon as I turned 18. The rest of my family lived across the world. I didn't have many friends. Long story short, I wasn't loved. Most of my time I spent aimlessly wandering around my town, hoping that somebody would come for me. It never happened. There was this house, though, that I was always felt drawn to. It was abandoned, looked like it had been there for quite some time. Vines were crawling across the exterior, the windows were boarded up, and the paint was chipping away. I never explored it, mainly because it didn't look friendly or safe. But as I walked by it one very late night, I realized even if it wasn't unsafe, and I died in it, nobody would care. They wouldn't even go looking for me. Hey, what the hell? I might as well, I thought. As I approached the front door, it creaked open by itself. The inside was musty and covered in dust, but not nearly as broken down as it was on the outside. I was just about to enter when I heard something strange. A piano playing. And right by the piano, a strange shadow getting larger and larger as it slithered towards me. I stepped back in shock. It was something. It had tentacles in place of arms, and its smile was sharp and yellow, naturally large. Its eyes resembled a snake's more than it did human. It held out a tentacle towards me.
Come, stay. You'll love it here.
Its cold tentacles wrapped around my arm and pulled me into the house, where the door slammed behind me. It dragged me towards a table where dozens of other creatures sat. Something with nothing but a gaping black hole for a mouth and eyes drooled beside me. A monster with pale skin and no pupils grinned at me. An octopus-looking creature in a droopy chef's hat walked towards the table, a grand plate of disgusting-looking entrees in his tentacles.
Dig in,
The tentacle creature said, that same wide grin staring at me. Who are you? I asked. The tentacle creature laughed.
Oh, foolish one. Look at us. We were just like you once. Outcast, alone, nowhere to go. Until we found this house. Stay a while. You'll be like us in no time.
I will never be like you. I yelled and ran towards the door, but it didn't open, no matter how hard I pushed. The creature with wide eyes grabbed me and dragged me upstairs into a room with a single moldy-looking bed.
Rest, young one. You have lots ahead of you.
It smiled and I could see the bugs in its teeth. Please, just let me go home. It shook its head.
You cannot leave? I cannot leave, even if I wanted to. This is your home now as it is mine.
I'm not like you. Tears welling in my eyes. This is your home, not mine. And the creature laughed a wheezy, throaty laugh.
What makes you think I'm not like you, young one?
I'm a human. You're just some monster. It sighed.
I was human once.
It reached into its dirty shirt pocket and pulled out a picture. It took me a while, but as I looked at it, the resemblance was there, and it became clear to me that it was, in fact, that monster.
This was me. I was alone just like you. I had nowhere to turn but this house. Oh, I hated it just like you. But as time went on, I found myself more at home. It changed me. You don't have to love it right away, young one. But trust me, this is where you were meant to be. Just give it time, okay?
He walked out of the room. I sat on the disgusting bed processing everything. Just give it time, okay? Slowly, I laid down on the bed, and to my surprise, it was comfortable. To be fair, my bed at home was just an air mattress lying on my kitchen floor, but this was like nothing before. I fell asleep in an instant, and I had a thought that maybe this wasn't going to be so bad after all. The next morning as I woke up, I looked different. Not too different, just enough for me to notice. My skin was paler, and my arms were veinier. My hair looked more matted, and when I smiled to myself in the mirror, I couldn't help but notice it looked similarly to the tentacle monster. As time went on, I felt more and more like them. Things I used to be disgusted by became hobbies of mine, and things that I used to fear made me smile a wide grin like everyone else. I barely noticed any changes in me until about a week later. Were my teeth sharper? Or was I just crazy? I just shook the thought off. But as time went on, the used to be things I got. I felt at home finally. This was home, where I could find joy in tearing a living rat's head off and drinking its blood, or where I could eat live bugs whenever I so desired. This was meant to be. I was turning into the man I was supposed to be. The tentacle monster, who I now recognized as the most esteemed of gentlemen, smiled at me one day.
Ah, brother, you've become one of us, a true monster.
Monster? Who was he calling a monster? I looked in the mirror and saw myself. My skin was now completely white. My fingers were long and sharp at the end, and eyes turned yellow like a cat's. My hair had fallen off. I was one of them. And then one day, as I was lounging by the piano, I heard the door creak open. A young man, maybe about my age, looked around. Hello? Is anybody here? I crawled towards him, eager to make